Hello, everybody. Judy Jandora here. It's been a while, hasn't it? um, I've really been having a difficult time getting cameras to work for being able to record a new video because it's been over a year. Anyway, so I'm going to try my phone, and see if we can't get this to work for us. So, really nice to be with you all again. I know it's been a long time. It's been over a year, and so much is changing every day. So much is changing. I wake up and I think, oh, I want to record something, and then it's like, oh my gosh, but it's going to change so much by tomorrow. But still, I think there's an issue that I really want to share that I think many of us are being faced with right now. It's something that's been very, very important all along, and I know I've drawn a lot of criticism for this over time, it now seems to be one of the most critical points to take into consideration now that we're in the midst of incredible change. So, as y'all know, all the systems as we know them are failing. They are disintegrating. They're being broken apart. They're coming apart. The money system, the governmental systems, education as we know it, the food industry as we know it, the pharmaceutical industry as we know it. Yay! Really, the religion, the system of religion as we know it, very, very tied into government, very tied into the money system. Much of it, not all of it, obviously, but the biggest part of it, really, that's true. All of these systems and others really are dismantling. They literally are disintegrating with the light quotient coming in that is allowing for nothing but truth to be able to withstand the light of day. And many things are not able to withstand that truth, and therefore they're not able to withstand the light of day. And as you all know, everything that is false is coming to the forefront all over the place, thanks to the new mass media. we've given that terminology to the corporate controlled media, which is the one that most people were taught to trust, were conditioned to trust, and for whatever reason, some people actually still do. No matter the fact that the facts of life actually tell you differently than what these people on mass media are telling you, the corporate controlled mass media. So now we've got the new mass media, which is the social networks, and there are so many beings out there who are interested in telling the truth, getting to the truth, getting to the facts, and bringing them out for you. And really what it all comes down to is, what are you interested in? What is your trajectory in this chaos going on right now? You really need to know what your trajectory is. You need to create a trajectory. You need to decide where you want to land when all of this settles. And even if you want to make it through as it turns into more and more chaos until it does actually settle. That is a choice point, actually, for each and every being. There is a choice point, and that choice point has to do with, do you want more of what was? And that would only be the case if you didn't feel like standing up and taking responsibility for yourself, for your own thoughts, for your own actions, and making a choice that may likely be the antithesis of a choice that somebody else who is just too overwrought to be able to change themselves in this, and therefore they will probably opt to leave their body in at this time. Many people will be doing that, I suspect. And that's okay too, because hey, guess what? We get to come back over and over and over again until we're satisfied. It's not a matter of getting it right. It's a matter of whether our soul is satisfied with the experience that it has been given, chosen, and lived multidimensionally and multi-beingly. Your soul is not just your soul, it is, but you also are many other beings within that soul having experience. So you don't have to do it all, because you're a badass too, you know. You're not just like a sweet, loving, kind person. You've been the badass. You are still. You've probably killed and raped, and you've murdered, and that's killed, and done hideous, horrible things, because the soul wants to know the full spectrum of experience. It doesn't judge. It really doesn't. And you say, how can it be that God would allow, or that anybody would allow people being hurt or raped or maimed, or all of that? Yeah, it sounds really horrible and hideous. And we've created it to be that, because God, if it weren't a serious experience to have, to feel so disempowered and victimized, that you have the opportunity to actually turn around and forgive that, once you realize that the other person involved is you as well. I know, gets into a lot of stuff, and we'll get back into that later, hopefully. But for now, really what it comes down to is making that choice for yourself. And there are going to be a lot of choice points here, and it's not going to be whether it's this thing or that thing. All things, all options are valid. Absolutely anything that you can imagine and you decide it's true is going to be so. So what's your options now are to decide, what do I want to be true? How do I want my life to roll out if I'm going to survive this and I'm going to be in a world of my own choosing? And I know many of you are even doubting that that's the case, but it won't be long before you prove it to yourself that is the case. Everything you think, every choice you make, you are forming your next nows, your reality, how it's going to roll out, how it's going to play out. We're in the turn into butterfly mode here, and it's gonna get really interesting. So the most important thing is to realize that you are seeing you everywhere you look. There's not a being in your experience that isn't a reflection of you. So, if you're experiencing and spending your time experiencing all the bad guys, the Illuminati, the cabal, the powers that were, and some still call the powers that be, not good. You bring them into the now, and that's what you got. Be careful with your words. Really pay care and attention to the words you choose to frame your reality with, because your reality is coming from that. So all these bad guys out there, if you're hating on them and you're hating on all of the people that quote unquote did you wrong, and all the things they make really bad country and western songs out of, from my perspective. All those bad guys out there are aspects of you who are still in lockdown mode. They're in hiding mode. They're really parts of your ego that do not believe that there is potential for something different, something more, something gentler, something beautiful. That scares that aspect of self desperately, because if it believed for a second that it was true and it turned out not to be true, the pain of that and the ego backlash to the ego would be way too much to handle. So it just says, fuck you, no. That is not true. That does not exist. Therefore, I'm the big bad guy and I'm going to lord over you because I figured out how, and you're stupid. And, the truth is that most of us are really not stupid. In fact, we're far from stupid. We've just been playing stupid because those big bad guys actually, played for us our separation from the divine self. That was all on purpose. There's no mistake in any of that. And here we are at the culmination point of all of that coming into absolute chaos, falling soon into what will be the new reality, the new earth, your new planet to live on. It's yours. And that is probably scaring the shit out of most of you. It sure does me sometimes. But the truth is what this is all going to come down to, and this is kind of the pièce de résistance, is that you don't get out of this by hating those people. You don't get to get out of this by blaming them and not taking the responsibility onto yourself. You don't get to get out of this by stuffing, by ignoring, by doing all those things the ego does to hide the need for self-responsibility. So the only way to create a loving, caring, integrative, light, peaceful, joyful, truly, fully abundant, amazing, creative, limitless life for yourself, and that is possible. That's my goal. It is. And I'm determined to get there. But I also know the only way to get there is to realize those parts of myself are love beckoning to be recognized, despite every action to prove otherwise. That is light wanting to be seen. It's like a bubble underwater that so desperately feels like it wants to come up, but it's afraid it's gonna strangle itself if that there won't be anything there, and that the whole thing would have been a ruse. So those parts of ourselves are the ones that actually need an enormous amount of love. That's where we need to put our attention, our time right now, is to sit with self when we feel those parts of ourselves that feel insecure, that get scared. You'll notice it in interactions with other people more than anything. And when that happens, now is the time to sink your attention into that space, that uneasy space, the space of dis-ease, the space that causes sickness, illness, because it's a being out of alignment with the integral part of self, which is love. That is who we all are, always will be. But we're playing this role as humans on purpose. You didn't get thrown down here by chance. You petitioned and you made it. And now is the time to wake the fuck up. Seriously, wake up. It's time. Otherwise, you're going to get drug behind. You're going to be like those cans on the back of a just married vehicle and bounding all over the place, all over the place, just getting scratched and scraped and hurt all over the place. This is not the time to play small anymore. I've been saying that a lot on my Facebook page, and this is time to step into your divinity. And there's so much more to be said, but I think this is enough for now. 15, 16 minutes is plenty. I love you all. Yeah, I got some words in there, some of my spice words. I didn't used to use those in public, but you know what? I use them. I don't see there's anything wrong with them. They're just words. Well, they're words. Words matter. And sometimes a good exclamation point is worthy. I love you all, and I will hopefully talk with you soon if I can figure out how to post this. Bye now.